Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Quick shout out to my newest patrons, Maddie A, Leonard P, and Daniel G. Thank you for choosing to support the channel. I think this at least deserves a mention. So we're looking at operating income by quarter for Tesla in the red, Amazon in the blue. For the last two quarters, Q4 and Q3 last year, Tesla's operating income has been higher than Amazon. And of course, after the COVID spike for Amazon, they've come back to reality. Further, Amazon's operating income was down to $12.2 billion for 2022. Meanwhile, Tesla's operating income for 2022 was $13.6 billion, and theirs was actually up 49% year over year. Since Amazon's operating income in 2021 was $24.9 billion, theirs was actually down 50% year over year. And then dropping all the way to the bottom line, looking at net income 2022 versus 2021, comparing megacap companies, shout out to Matthias, Amazon down 108%, Tesla up 123%. The type of growth Tesla has been displaying and will continue to display is currently unmatched in the megacap space. I know Reddit's the place to go for people to complain and throw stones, be negative, but this picture somehow started to trend, and the title is Tesla Tractor Trailer Broke Down. I would say maybe it's a new vehicle, some hiccups should be expected, Tesla will work through them. However, there are other reasons why a truck driver could stop. Maybe they wanted a snack, maybe they wanted to check a noise they were hearing, maybe they wanted to stop and take a picture, take a bathroom break. Whatever the case may be, this one picture doesn't have to mean there was a problem. And even if there was, let Tesla know. I'm sure they'll fix it and then keep making the product better. We got some more pictures of the Cybertruck. It's definitely being put through its paces and you can see some signs of this testing. This one, however, did have the more rectangular side view mirror, so it could be a different version. Elon did say still many tweaks to make it better, and the side mirrors are removable by owner, but this is very close to production design. And I do hope and almost expect that the brake lights on the production version will be that bar all the way across rather than how it seems to be right now with just these two little ones on each side. And the two other smaller ones down here as well. And this may be an older version of the Cybertruck because you'll notice the Giga Wiper is nowhere to be found on the front. And I would just say if you're trying to take pictures, please be respectful, stay off private property, etc. Take this moment in because it may be the last time you ever hear it, but a slow clap for the IRS. They have changed the classification for all Tesla Model Y vehicles to all be SUVs, which means yes, all of the price caps for any Tesla Model Y is now $80,000, including the 5-seat variant that was previously excluded. It's not like the Model Y needed any help to become the best-selling car by unit volume globally this year, but this certainly will not hurt. More good news, as long as you meet all of the requirements, this will be retroactive dating back to January 1st of this year. So yes, a fully loaded Model Y performance does come in under the cap. Remember, software features like enhanced autopilot and FSD do not take you over the cap. They don't in this case, but even if they did, they do not count. It's just the physical upgrades like the wheels, the paint colors, etc. Reuters is saying Elon specifically brought up this issue at the meeting at the White House last week. Mary Barra and GM were pushing back on this as well because the Cadillac Lyriq was not qualifying previously, but now it does, along with the Volkswagen ID4 and the Mustang Mach-E. The Treasury said it will now use the EPA fuel economy labeling standard. This change will allow crossover vehicles that share similar features to be treated consistently. And as Sawyer reminded us all, do not forget to check your state's local incentives because states like Oregon are giving an additional up to $7,500 that would be on top of the $7,500 federal tax credit. There's plenty of speculation out there that Tesla may now raise prices of the Model Y, especially if wait times get too long. I don't think we're there yet, but I won't be surprised if they do raise prices at some point over the next few weeks. I would add though, I do not think it's a guarantee that Tesla will ultimately end up raising prices in the near term. For the overall auto market in Australia, the Tesla Model 3 was the third best-selling vehicle in January. Now yes, it's 1 month, but ordinarily it's a lower month for Tesla deliveries. In a sign of things to come, this was the first time a pure battery electric model ranked so highly, and in Australia, 5.7% of the total sales were pure BEV, excluding hybrid. But I'm sharing this 1 month of data because new vehicle sales were at their strongest level since January 2018, signifying a recovery in the auto market, specifically in Australia. And I'm not going to explain this chart, but it's just US sales data comparing January of this year to December of last year. And one of these is not like the other. The Kilowatts got some new images of what could be a Project Highland Model 3 around the Tesla offices in California. It definitely seems like we could be getting newer versions of both the bumper and the fender, maybe different sensors. Again, plenty of speculation already out there. I can't really make out much else. Let me know if you see something that I don't, but fingers crossed on March 1st, we will learn a little bit more about what they have going on with Project Highland. From Reuters, Tesla sold 66,051 vehicles in the month of January. So plugging this data in down here, you have to remember two important things. First, comparing this year over year to January of 2022, the Chinese holiday last year actually fell in February, and in 2023, it was of course in January. So this monthly year over year comparison really is not that accurate because in January of 2022, they had more working days. So given that, paired with the fact that this month of data had one less week due to this holiday for the month, even comparing it to the first month of Q4 is not going to make a ton of sense. Tesla did have in the neighborhood of 25,000 insurance registrations for January, which would imply that they exported in the neighborhood of 41,000 vehicles for the month. So for now, we'll just wait, get the rest of the monthly data, and we'll go from there. You may have seen some headlines out there saying that Tesla sales were up over 900% in Germany for January. It's true, but just remember this is coming from a base of 419 cars at the beginning of 2022. Not taking anything away from Tesla's progress in Germany, but this is also a good reminder that the monthly sales data in these European countries can be very sporadic. Whenever Giga Berlin actually ramps up to around that 500,000 unit capacity, these numbers will smooth out greatly. We're just not there yet. I would also add that Tesla cut prices in Germany in the middle of January, so those effects won't show up for another few weeks because delivery times in the area are a few weeks to a few months. Today, Tesla announced price cuts in the Taiwanese market for both the Model 3 and the Model Y. The discounts will vary between $2,000 for a Model 3 and up to $7,500 US for the Model Y performance variant. The long-range Model Y has been dropped by $6,000 US. I'm not a fan of Consumer Reports, but just to pass along the data, Tesla has ranked second in the latest survey of the most loved car brands. Tesla has been confirmed as the second brand buyers will most likely buy again. The least liked brands from the survey, Mercedes, VW, and Infiniti. A quick note on Ford's earnings. It looks like the breakdown for traditional auto has arrived. Ford is openly admitting to it, whereas GM is still stuck in that fake corporate speak. Even though Ford's investments in Rivian and Argo are absolutely part of the business, if we go along playing the game of removing those items and just focusing on more operational efficiency, which I clearly understand, Ford's net income still would have been in the neighborhood of about $10 billion for the year, which would have been down from $18 billion in 2021. Looking at some charts from James Stevenson, this one is for net income for Ford, GM, and Tesla. Now this swing for Ford was of course the Rivian gain in 2021, and the loss is included for 2022. Ford's been a little up and down, GM's basically staying steady outside of one outlier, and Tesla the only one on the list with a steady growth up, and it's ramping quickly. And that number honestly becomes more mind-blowing when you consider that Tesla is doing those numbers, which are better than Ford and GM, with a fraction of the global deliveries. All I will say is whenever Tesla gets to the point where it starts selling between 4 and 6 million cars per year on the way up to 10 million plus, those prior net income numbers are just going to look incredibly silly relative to Ford and GM. Jim Farley also announced that Ford is now returning to F1 in partnership with Red Bull Racing. Ford is developing this Red Bull Ford powertrains to share expertise, ideas, and tech that work to develop the hybrid power unit for the 2026 F1 season, including a 350 kilowatt electric motor and a new combustion engine able to run on sustainable fuels. And Farley is saying this partnership will help Ford from an aerodynamic standpoint, battery tech, software controls, and digital OTA updates. F1 is definitely a sandbox for new technology, but this is honestly probably more of a marketing play than something that will actually help Ford build EVs for the consumer market. The main reason I say that is because you don't see Tesla in F1. Ford is down about 8% so far today. George Hotz had a pretty interesting post on LinkedIn basically saying that the time has come to shut down Waymo. You can pause the screen if you want, I just want to share one paragraph. Disclosure, George is a Google shareholder, but he's saying autonomous vehicles remain a research problem, though this is absolutely not how the problem was pitched to investors. Even after the problem is solved, the unit economics will likely not make sense for a long time. Anyone being honest will tell you there's little prospect of these kinds of companies turning a profit anytime soon. Hotz also praised Ford for writing off Argo AI and taking that $2.7 billion hit, saying it was the right move, and he added every year Google spends about $2.7 billion to make $631,000 in revenue. Personally, I wouldn't be yelling to shut it down, but I definitely agree any type of profitability in the near term seems like a pipe dream for these type of companies. In other news, Electrify America is now raising prices. The price hikes will go into effect next month, and EA is saying this is due to rising operational and energy costs. This is happening across the US at both stations that bill per minute and per kilowatt hour. Here are the new rates, and it's a tough time because right now there are publicly very many reliability issues with Electrify America, but fingers crossed that they'll take this money and use it to fix the system. This is a paywalled article, but the story is Tesla may be setting up a new office in Silicon Valley to attract new AI talent. I'm sure we'll hear more about this in the weeks ahead. And I'll send you guys off into the weekend with a brand new video from Tesla giving us a sneak peek into the new Megapack factory in Lathrop. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Please like the video if you did, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.